So, good morning, people. I'm doing a end of January tour of my growing spaces. So this is my job this morning, and I'll do this once I finish the film. But I've got a little cyclamen that needs putting in, and I've got 3 helianthums that grow about 60 centimetres tall. I think they look really pretty, don't you? Cerise Queen, 3 the same, because my job is to fill this border along here and make it full and colourful. And because we're on a slope, they grow to about 2 feet. I have to leave that bit of hedge accessible so that the gardener can use his long-handled hedge trimmer to reach it. So I kind of am limited about how wide I can make this border, so I need to make it full and a little bit taller and not look like it's sort of clinging onto the edge of a slope. So these 3 are going to start things off, and I'll show you. I've got lots of bulbs in here. There's one coming up here, and every 5 inches or so I planted a black tulip bulb along the front here, and they are starting to come up now. So I have some cyclamens that survived all the snow and the rain and the wind, so I'm hoping the other one will add to it. I've got some wallflowers, some are actually coming into flower, because I think it's a very sheltered spot because of that hedge. So these are a load of bulbs that I planted in the autumn, a whole mixture of tulips and bulbs and irises, and so I think they'll be pretty. So they'll put us on through the spring. I'm very pleased with this wallflower. It looks very healthy. So yes, that's my project for this summer, really, is to get that looking full and pretty and colourful. So as I walk round here, I'll just take you round here. That's our lovely shed. At the back of the shed, you see the blue one there. At the back of the shed, I've got a lot of buckets, and they are filling up, as is the wheelbarrow, but that's just accidental or incidental, because that butt now is full. So we've had so much rain that filled up. Was full last week, so I am prepared with a bit of water at least this year. So I'll go down this way next. This is my leaf mould area, and these have gone down quite a long way. They were sort of mounded up over the top, both of them, and they are sinking quite fast. As are these bags. These have got leaf mould in them as well. That's a bag of strolch, and that's for a project further up the slope that I'll tell you about when I get there. So we'll walk up the path. I have been promised wood chips. We are trying to get in touch with the tree surgeon, so I know they're going to come. So soon this path will look brighter and deeper, and much easier to manage, not getting too muddy on. So the sun's out, makes such a difference to my mood, I have to tell you. In a couple of weeks I'll be pruning that right back so it bushes out. That's a buddleia. I don't want it to grow too spindly. This bed just needs tickling over and a bit of compost on it, and then I can grow things on it. Last year it had potatoes in it, so just things that, because of where it is, it gets shady earlier in the spring and later in the summer, so it might be good for a brassica or 2, but I'll have to put a bit of chicken shit and bloodfish and bone meal on it, I think, to get it fed enough for that. keep using water out of here because I don't want it to trickle down the slope and onto the path down below where people walk. This bed really just needs a tidy up and a rake over, and then plant things in it. I do have a plan, but it's not in my head, but there is a plan. There will be something going in there. The other day I picked some sprout tops, and the last of the sprouts off that plant, and that sprout top came off there, but I have those still to go. I mean, those sprouts are blowing, if you can see, but there are still some sprouts to be had, and that one down there has got some nice looking sprouts on it. And then a nice rake over, and that's ready to use. These beds here are for beans alternating with carrots, so the beans ones will have a little bit more feed put in them and the carrots won't. I think what I might do with the carrot ones is put some coir in them just to lighten the compost. They are a mixture of leaf mould and compost that I buy from a local nursery, which is already very light because they add sand to it because they use it to grow their seedlings in. So that bed's all ready. This bed is ready to use. I just need to take the cardboard off and away with that. Again, it's got a tree above it, so it needs to have something that doesn't need too much light on it. Again, it might be quite good for carrots. I could grow carrots along there as well. That might be quite a good use of the space. These are my strawberries. I cleared them in the autumn, and they've had compost and leaf mulch on them, and really they're ready to go as well. I have decided, I know this as part of my plan, this bed here that needs raking over and then some mulch over the top, that will be my potato bed for this year. And I was given a little, almost like a square foot container but made out of tarpaulin material with 6 squares in it. Well, they're 9. It's quite big anyway, so I thought I'd use that in this spot here to grow the small seed potatoes for the small seed potato challenge. So that might be quite a useful use of space. Along here it's got masses of compost and mulch on it. That was where I grew the tomatoes last year, so it's a very sunny spot. So again, I have got a plan, but it's not in my head. I've got a lovely little row of garlic growing now. The first lot got squelched by too much rain in the autumn, but those seem to be growing quite nicely. So fingers crossed. The rhubarb is in that patch there that had green manure on it and leaves, and also bloodfish and bone meal. So I think it should be okay. I'll just tidy it up when the leaves start to show through. This is the bane of my life. All of that is creeping buttercup, and it is a never-ending job. So my plan for that bag of strolch is I'm going to rake that over and clear it as much as I can, and then I've got a nice large long thick cardboard box that our new clothes era came in, so I'm going to put that down, and then I'm going to put a bag of strolch on top, and hopefully at least it'll slow this creeping buttercup down for a little while. I covered the broad beans with net because they were lying down and looking very sad, and actually I didn't know if they were going to survive, but they seem to be benefiting from being covered by the nets because those are onions, and they are surviving surprisingly with how wet it's been. And the row below is partially rotted leaf mould and green manure, so that'll need tidying up and raking over, and then that'll be a bed as well. These sticks are where my parsnips are, because as the leaves disappeared I couldn't find them, so I hunted around and put sticks there, and approximately that should be where they all are, so fingers crossed I got it right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parsnips left, and there might be more because you never know. So I think this bed here against the wall, which again I covered with a really thick layer of leaves in the autumn, and compost, stale compost from old pots that were empty, that sort of plants had died back in because they've been too dry. So yeah, this is where I'm going to put my tomatoes, and that doesn't matter too much about the top surface of the soil, because what I'll do is I'll put halos down and put the plants inside the halos after feeding the hole very thoroughly with chicken shit and bloodfish and bone meal and fresh compost. So that's where my tomato bed is going to be. I had to come out a couple of times over January and refix this net onto my purple sprouting broccoli because it was blowing all over the place. I mean, we've had fairly regularly, we've had up to 50-mile-an-hour winds up here, so it's not been nice at all for getting out in. That's on a slope, and the ground at the moment is so soggy and slippy. I've not been able to do much in the way of bed prep, but there are some very elderly cabbages in there, and a little brave runner bean, no, not a runner bean, a broad bean in there. And I've put some broad beans up here. Whether they actually survive is touch and go, so I am going to sow some more in a couple of weeks to fill the gaps. I've got herbs growing in here. Ooh, and that looks like there's a daffodil coming up, which is rather jolly. So oregano, thyme and mint and sage, and the sage has been really good, and I've been able to come up and harvest it fresh, weather permitting, through the winter, which has been lovely. As I go along here, this is 2.5-year-old leaf mould in here and in there down below, and I grew potatoes in them last year and they were okay, but I'm going to use them as a mulch for this summer. This is my compost bin. I have it covered over because we've had so much rain, but again it just is working really well because it goes down 1 inch or so a week, but I keep topping it up. This is a leaf mould bin with fresh leaves in that was domed up to the top in the autumn, and it's already gone down this far, so I'm hoping I can leave it alone, and so we'll have some really nice leaf mould next year. This is my bucket where I'm putting any creeping buttercups that I dig up. I had to tip it out the other day because the rain had been so torrential it had filled it up, and boy, the smell, so something anaerobic is going on in there. Again, this bag was full to the top with half rotted leaf mould, and you can see it's pretty much gone down, what do you think, 6 inches? So I think that's not bad either. So I'm very happy to be able to get out today and do a bit of gardening because I've been very grumpy because I've not been able to get out very much. And well, that's what a body likes to do when they're a keen gardener, isn't it? My favourite activity. So we have a gardener that comes every couple of weeks through the spring and summer. So next time he comes, I'm going to ask him to trim that area and along, a bit further along, and because he's got a powerful strimmer, and then I'm going to scatter wildflower seeds along the bank to try and prettify things. And I'll just take you a little bit further on my project. Once I've got the flower border that I've already shown you sorted out, I have another cunning plan. So we'll just go down here a bit and I'll show you. So I do apologise for the sounds of the traffic probably drowning out my voice at this point, but we're on a very busy road. Along here the trees were pollarded last winter, and they have been covering this bit of soil for a few years, so no light could get in. But also that hedge was cut back, so in the autumn I planted a lot of bulbs. And my other plan is to try and give this border a bit of colour as well. So I'm sorry if you couldn't hear me, but my plan is to colourify this border when I have the time. But very pleased to see we have snowdrops out there, and we have some little baby ones coming there, which I planted in the autumn. So this is a much longer video than I usually do. Thank you for your patience if you watched it all the way through, and I'll see you at the next. Bye.